What is up, guys? So yesterday I posted my breakdown for all the trailers that were released for Crisis on Infinite Earths the day before. There were trailers, very short trailers, like 15-second trailers, but only like 10 seconds of actual footage, as there's 5 seconds of logo. But there was a trailer for The Flash, Batwoman, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and even Black Lightning, even though Black Lightning doesn't have an episode in the crossover. One show that didn't seemingly have a trailer was Arrow, as for some reason it was hidden somewhere, but I didn't see it until after I posted that video, and a lot of commenters pointed out that there actually was an Arrow trailer, and that's what I'll be breaking down in this video. It is, again, a very short trailer, only like 10 seconds of footage to talk about, but there is one specific shot that might give away something huge, so let's watch the trailer and break it down.
The crisis has begun. You are needed.
I am attempting to save the multiverse.
It's time!
So the trailer begins like all other trailers did, with Lila Michaels, aka Harbinger, recruiting a hero, or at least most of the trailers began that way, especially for Arrow, Batwoman, and Legends of Tomorrow. But anyway, she's recruiting the two Green Arrows, Oliver Queen and Mia Smoke, which is most appropriate because this is the show she is from, which is weird. I mean, reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, you would never expect for Harbinger to then debut and then be a recurring character in a Green Arrow TV show, nor would you expect for the Monitor to be a series regular on a Green Arrow TV show, but that is where we are at this point. But here she's recruiting Green Arrow. Now, one question is, where are they? Oliver and Mia seem like they're in some sort of forest, and there is a very simple answer to where they are. They're on Lian-Yu. We know this because not only does it look like Lian-Yu, but also episode 7 is actually titled Purgatory, the episode right before Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Purgatory is obviously what Lian-Yu means in Mandarin. But not only that, but the synopsis also says that Oliver's mission takes him to Lian-Yu, where he tries to ignore the repercussions of the looming crisis, which is something that's going to probably lead right into the actual crisis, which is why Oliver, along with Mia, probably the two characters that were sent to Lian-Yu, maybe by the Monitor, maybe not, but that's probably why they are there, and by the end of episode 7, they're still going to be there until episode 1 of The Crisis, which is Supergirl season 5, episode 9, where Harbinger recruits them, and that's what we're seeing right here. So after Harbinger recruits the two Green Arrows and says you are needed, the rest of the trailer mainly focuses on Oliver Queen, which is definitely a good thing. We get a line from Oliver saying he's trying to save the multiverse. It seems like in some sort of argument with someone, but this is really what Arrow Season 8 has been about. It's been about paying homage to the first 7 seasons and ending the show, but also saving the multiverse and stopping the crisis from destroying everything, which is probably not going to happen. Oliver will probably not successfully save the entirety of the multiverse, but with the help of the Monitor and probably a lot of other people, will successfully save at least 1 or 2 universes, like in the comics where every universe was destroyed except for 5 of them. Here it seems like something very similar is happening, with at least Earth 1 and Earth 38 surviving while the rest probably don't. But either way, it's a really cool line, and the shots we get of Oliver are definitely great shots. That is until the end, where we get a pretty awesome looking shot that may be the death of Oliver Queen. In this shot, Oliver is in his Green Arrow costume, but he's not wearing the mask or the hood, but he is lying on the floor or something, and Flash is there as well. He's also crouched down, and I think that this is probably the actual scene where Oliver dies. It's pretty crazy that they would actually show that in a trailer, but I mean, what else can this be? It could be Oliver fell down where he was hurt, and Barry is trying to help him get back up or something. It might be some sort of misdirect in this trailer, but what it most likely is Oliver's actual death. This also might be during what we saw in The Flash, Season 5, Episode 18, where in the future, in a different timeline where Nora existed, Barry sent a message to Nora, and during this message where the skies were red, we heard Oliver in the background scream Laurel, which means that this is probably where this is from, like some big war where Oliver and Black Canary and the Flash are all fighting the Shadow Demons and the Anti-Monitor, and during all this, most likely after Oliver saves the multiverse, as they are able to just sit there and lie there even in Oliver's case without being further attacked. This is probably going to be Oliver's death, which I'm really glad that Barry is actually the one that's going to mainly react to it, because I think that is going to be the best case scenario. I'm sure there are also other people like standing around Oliver, like maybe all the heroes in the Crisis who did survive, standing around Oliver who just made the big sacrifice, very similar to Iron Man in Avengers Endgame, but it will be mainly Barry, it seems like, in this shot, that will react to this. Spartan probably will have a big reaction as well, as John Diggle and Oliver Queen are best friends, but while that definitely will be emotional, I'm glad that they're focusing more on the Flash, not only because I think Barry and Oliver have a more fun and better dynamic than Oliver and John, and also just a better friendship, but also Grant Gustin is by far the best actor in the Arrowverse when it comes to reacting to death scenes, maybe other than Stephen Amell, but I mean, obviously Stephen Amell is not an option, so because of that, I mean, with Grant Gustin's reaction to Nora's death and Henry's death, and even recently the second Nora's death, he's a really good actor, so I think that will also enhance the scene, and while I think Diggle will also be there, I'm glad it's more focusing on Barry, especially since Felicity doesn't seem to be here. I mean, it would definitely make sense to focus on Felicity reacting to Oliver. I mean, narratively, it's not obviously something I want to see, but narratively it would make sense, but I'm so glad that Felicity isn't appearing here, not only because, I mean, whenever she does appear, it makes the episodes, especially the crossovers, a lot worse. The only exceptions are Flash vs. Arrow and Invasion, but every other one, wherever she does appear, the scenes where she does appear, it makes those scenes so much worse. But also, especially with deaths, the actress is not good at all. You can see that in Laurel's death, where it's incredibly emotional until Felicity reacts to it, and it's really cringy. Obviously, it's not a death that ever should have happened, but in the moment, it was incredibly emotional until, like I said, Felicity reacted to it. So I'm glad that Felicity's not appearing here, because it would completely ruin this death scene, which should be the most emotional death scene ever, because Oliver Queen is the best character in the Arrowverse, or at least the second best behind Barry, depending on your opinion. But either way, it's definitely going to be a very emotional scene, especially with what we're seeing in this clip, if this is indeed his death, which I'm guessing it is. So that is it for the Arrow trailer, but there is more I want to talk about, as on Twitter, Mark Guggenheim, who was the showrunner for Arrow for the first 6 seasons, and also the writer of Crisis on Infinite Earths, along with Marv Wolfman, who was the writer of the original Crisis, has been going on a Twitter spree, replying to a lot of questions about the Crisis, not really spoiling much, but definitely giving a couple things away for us to talk about here. And while most of the things that he mentioned were from like a couple days ago or a while ago, I want to talk about of them here because I never really got the chance to talk about any of them in a video before. So to do with Arrow specifically, he said that the Earth 2 version of Laurel isn't appearing, while she is appearing in the upcoming Green Arrow and the Canaries TV show, which I don't really get that. Like, why would she not be appearing? At least why would she not be helping out in the Crisis? Like, where is she that she isn't helping out? But either way, Laurel isn't appearing from Earth 2, but Katie Cassidy is appearing and playing the Earth 1 version of Laurel, the character who is dead. Apparently, she's only appearing in the Arrow episode, which is episode 4 of the Crisis, so I'm guessing she's not actually appearing. She's going to be like a hallucination or a dream or something of the Earth 1 Laurel that maybe Oliver has. So one thing that I find very disappointing that was revealed about the crossover, and it's not something I'm going to hold against them, I'm going to hold it against Warner Brothers and DC for not allowing them to do this. Apparently, Mark Guggenheim said that they can't call the team the Justice League, which is something that they've never done before, which I think they should have been doing since Invasion, as since then they've felt like a Justice League, especially in Elseworlds with Superman, Green Arrow, and The Flash, and a couple others, but especially in Crisis on Infinite Earths with all these heroes, it seems like Batman's appearing as well with Superman, The Flash, Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, The Atom, Black Canary. This definitely is a Justice League, but it seems like DC and Warner Brothers aren't allowing them to use the name Justice League. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's kind of embarrassing how much better the Justice League is in the small screen with such a small budget, and then on the big screen, it might have something to do with that, but it's definitely disappointing, especially with the fact that they're bringing back the Hall of Justice. This would be the perfect time for them to form the Justice League, and they may be doing that, but they can't actually call them the Justice League, which is definitely pretty disappointing. So when replying to a tweet asking if Bebo, Jefferson Jackson, or Martin Stein will be appearing, he said one of them will be, even though there's a whole multiverse and the alternate versions of these characters could appear. I'm guessing he was referring to the Earth 1 versions, which is why I think that Jefferson, Jackson, and Martin Stein will probably not be appearing, and Bebo will be, especially since Bebo would be a lot easier and definitely cheaper to bring back because he's just a toy. But I would definitely like to see Jefferson return specifically. In fact, I would like to see him return as Firestorm again, because, I mean, he left because Martin Stein wanted to leave, but then also he left because Martin Stein died. But I think it would have been cool for Jefferson Jackson to actually continue as Firestorm with maybe somebody else, but I'd definitely like him to return as Firestorm, but it seems like it's only Bebo who is returning. So the final thing we got from Mark Guggenheim on Twitter so far has to do with the Brandon Routh version of Superman, the Kingdom Come version. He confirms that this is actually from the Superman Returns continuity. There has been some questioning about that. It was never specifically said that it wasn't, but it was hinted at because they said that this is not Superman Returns, this is Kingdom Come version. But it is clear that this is a continued Superman Returns where he would later become the Kingdom Come version of that character. But this is also a continuation of Superman and Superman 2, not Superman 3 and 4, because those movies are apparently not canon within this whole thing because they were so bad, because they didn't make any money. They just didn't want to put it in the canon. So right now, Superman, Superman 2, and Superman Returns, basically a trilogy, are all canon in the Arrowverse and are all part of the multiverse, which is pretty crazy. So anyway, let me know your thoughts about everything I talked about here, and if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.